where temperature is greater than 45. So I assign a variable to that. Then I go next step, I store that into a particular folder which looks like air temperature greater than 45. If you go down and look at it, it must be there. If you go to Hadoop fs -ls and go to this particular folder, you should be seeing a record specific with temperature greater than 45 here. Now I go on next and I take a specific parts of the file. If you go back and see, I read the whole file here. I have everything here. I have everything here. But if I go down the wind direction, wind records, I choose what I want. I choose specific data elements and I store it in this particular folder. Same thing with the temperature records. I choose specific data elements and store this and come out. Right? So this is kind of interpret language. When you run load, it doesn't do anything actually. It doesn't do anything. When you say store, it goes back, builds whole tree of MapReduce, and runs the program. And when you come to the next stage, it still builds the context. It doesn't really execute. Whenever you have store or dump, it executes a MapReduce program. So that's kind of interpret language.
So you're saying it has to run the query 4 times?
On the data, yes. Yes, because you map the data, then I do some MapReduce here to store all the data. Then I come, I apply this particular filter, right? And it applies the filter on the same set of data. Because I'm not using the same, this is a new variable. I'm not reusing any variable here. This is a new one. I define new variable, then I say process data. This is a main variable. That's where it holds all the data. And filter the data and put in this folder.
When you have that filter process data,
Mm-hmm.
The data that you have there is coming from the one that already stored. You're not
Yeah.
going to process it again. That's
Yeah,
right.
not going to. It's stored. Yeah. So very similarly, then once I get this record here, then I store it here. This is when actually code gets executed. The mapper, reducer, the resource assignment, everything happens at this stage.
When we have the data directory and output directory defined in the big script itself instead of the parameters.
Yeah, I want to extend that.
Okay.
Could you go back to where you defined user-defined content, you called it? And how does it know what you're defining?
I want to come to that.
Okay.
So let me push you one more time. So go down just to the second store. Okay, so when I run that query, do I go to weather processed pig 2013 small all, or do I go to the original?
Original. You map it, you're storing it, all the data here first. You're mapping and storing it here. Then you come down, you take the same variable, filter it, and store it in airtime, right? In this folder.
Yeah, but what I don't get is whether I have to look at all of the data, again, or whether I can just look at processed data all.
Now, what he's asking,
Here, this is just a mapping. This is not, you're not doing anything here. You are mapping here. Once you map it, you're telling how do I store this one and where do I store it? In this fashion. It's stored in this fashion because I define the data types. You see the data types everywhere?
At the very top, you
Very top.
register.
Yeah. Yeah.
You, did I get that wrong?
Right now, the data is in that the data tier folder, right?
Yeah.
You're loading it because you have the loader function to map it with that particular characteristic. So when you have this first store, you read it and you put it in the folder.
Yes.
When you have the second store command, you go through the loader as well.
Do the raw or do you do process?
Processed. And if you look at the link of the same variable used, means I'm hitting the same data set every time, right? So here, I continue to use the same data set in many places. right? Take the same data set, do me 2-3 different things, right? That's what I'm doing. One I'm just putting it, one I filter, and when I pick particular elements from the file. I'm not doing everything. For each generated, I just pick one of these particular values and put it.
So Sanjay, I guess the question is, every time you are, the first time you are creating process data, every subsequent time, are you doing everything or are you just picking the data? I believe that is where you're coming from, right?
It's a progression. It's a progression. You don't do it every time.
So it's
You just use the same data set that I'm meant.
Okay,
First you get it, you keep on using it.
okay.
Because that's a main data set, then all the process data sits in different folders. You see that?
Yes.
Because they sit in the different variables. They sit in the different variables. This is wind record, air temperature. So they are different data sets from the main data set.
Got it, thank you.
Alright, so let's say, what if we were to take out the lines that say store data, process data into all folders?
This one?
Yeah.
Then this is not defined. It's just it's not really into the memory yet, because when you say store, then it gets executed. You're just defining the map. It's like writing a code and not executing it. Right?
It's not coding the logic.
So
the problem
it's
with-
interpreted. Every time it's interpreted.
So when he ran the second store, he had to go to the process directory. And since the first store wasn't written, he didn't have
The real beat is that when you say store or dump, that's what happens. That's when the data gets processed and stored and code executes. You get a MapReduce job created in the background. These are the key things. When you say store or a dump, dump is for your console. So when you say store, you can send it to a folder.
So that first just like any other file that you store.
So anybody has any questions further on this
All
one?
dumps followed by stores?
Pardon me?
Do all the dump commands, are they followed by a store command?
No, dump is just for your I/O standard output. Yeah, on a console for debugging purpose, right? So now when you want to store it, because you want some other program to pick it up, when you say store, you have to give a folder name. When you say dump, it comes on your console actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but effect is same. The MapReduce job is kicked off. Yeah.
So where do you say that this is, I understand the pig by default is the MapReduce, right? So where do you say, is there somewhere that you can specifically say do the MapReduce or do the local mode or things like that?
When you start the pig, you can do pig in local mode or using Hadoop. So when you say local mode, it looks a local folder on your desktop, and you apply the same function, you sample it out. Now you point to Hadoop, because you know the file is the same type file, the same logic works on it. So you can start pig in local mode as well. You can run on local
When
file.
I process the data on the HDFS,
Yeah.
right? So then it's by default it's a MapReduce. that's
Yes, MapReduce, yes. Okay.
So in this environment though, it's not really doing distributed processing, right? Because it's all on one disk.
Right now one node. And if you have distributed, you can see it spread across.
But you did show the cluster though, right? What did the cluster say? When you showed the cluster?
If you go to Ambari,
Yeah, the cluster it says one node.
Yeah.
There's only one node.
yeah, one node. That's what it is.
This is 8088. Same, it's just back from Java.
How many data nodes are like? One of one.
Yeah, so radio constant.
One node, yeah, one.
I think they want to see what the data is. They can see, but they want to see how the pig is processing.
Yeah.
Is there any way you guys have saved all these commands that I think?
Yeah, brother.
So this is the data file, weather data. So this is a weather data file, that's how it looks like. So there is no comma delimitation, there is no pipe, it's just one line with the different numbers in a continuous order. So
The first digits, they indicate the sensor ID. That's how the weather data
Yeah.
works. You can go look it up. That's the weather data.
And-
Then the state, things like that. Where is it coming?
how did we know how to divide this file? If I go to weather website, they also give you a file for you, a Java object file. They tell you how it is mapped. Use this one to process this data. So even if I don't know, even if I tell, it's very hard to determine, from what digit to what digit, what is what, right? Is the ID or sensor ID or a weather ID or a date or something? Because there is a date is stored in epoch format, milliseconds format. There is a date here somewhere. It's stored in the millisecond format. So, yeah.
So for weather data, it's all provided. What about
Then you should know. Right? If you're working for some financial industry data or what you call ACH data, the transaction data. So it looks like this, right? Then they have a specific pattern how it's mapped. That's a standard. You use that standard to map your file and read that. Right?
Are you going to make your little custom filter available?
Yeah, yeah.
So is the jar file that
Is that
going to be a repository?
It says that you're trying to use one giant database. That's what our
So how many of you familiar with Eclipse? Java Eclipse. Who use actively Java Eclipse? Yeah.
GPS signal lost.
This is the parcel that I use. This is given by NOA. If you go to weather website, they give a Java object that how you parse the file, right? And we took it, we made little modification to it to convert the dates and stuff like that. Basically, you write a custom loader. If you are good enough in Python or Java, you can build user-defined functions using these things, right? Or you can use, if your file is comma delimited or a pipe delimited, you can use a standard pig loader that's provided by the Hadoop framework. So this is one example where you can use any given parser, or you can build your own parser to read the data the way you want it in a pig script. No problem. Python or pig. So how many familiar with Python? Yeah. Python is another very good UDF function for pig and pipe, right? So once you build those jar files, right? Once you build those jar files, you just cannot write any Java object. You need to inherit some framework. For a loader, there's a load function, and also you can define a custom evaluator function using a typical framework. You have the interfaces like eval function and load function. You have to use those and build your code similar to Python as well. So because pig can understand, pig is totally written in Java. You can understand your inheritance from which interface you implemented your loader or a evaluate function, so that it can work better. So here, for example, we use the loader, and that's registered here, right? I'm using a custom loader, and jar name is stored in one of your parameter files. If you look at here, right? Here my custom loaders are sitting. I set these input parameters from pig script, right? So I'm going to tell them which directory store, what is the output directory looks like, what are the jar files I need. I have two jar files because they are dependencies. I need to register all the dependencies. So this is where my custom UDF user-defined function is sitting. That reads your weather data.
So is pig running on J?
Yeah, it's on Java.
Okay.
Yeah, it creates a jar files and sends it to the Hadoop framework. It's published to all the nodes, and code is executed, and result is given back to you. Yeah. So what you can use, is data flow language. Basically, A equal to B, B equal to C. Then you apply some transformation to the other variable. You filter it, or you limit the number of rows, or evaluate it. You can do group by, and there are quite a few SQL-like functions are supported. You can do group by, you can do count, you can do some transformations. So we use pig mostly in a clickstream or data cleansing use cases. You have web clickstream coming to your system and dumped to some location, and you bring that into Hadoop file system. You apply some transformations, cleanup scripts. There are Unicodes, and you have a lot of clickstream which you want to unstructured, make it semi-structured, then take it to structure. You can use pig for that, ETL transformations. That's very well suited for cleaning up your data.
Could I ask, it says something about the cluster, right? So in the scripts that we executed, we didn't say anything about the cluster really well, right? Or is it part of the Hadoop itself that it realizes this is my cluster?
Yeah. If you use Ambari, you define, there are 2 name nodes, there are 5 data nodes. So that is assumed in the cluster, right? So when you're in a pig, and YARN knows where the cluster is, how the cluster is set up. It's aware of cluster aware. So it publishes your program to all the nodes, get the results back, and give the result. So you don't have to know which cluster I'm running, which node I'm running, which node is up, which node is down.
I understood, but that is for the purpose of hands-on here, I'm asking you how does it work. So I got it. So you're saying that because we set it up, the sandbox already given.
Yeah. Even sandbox, basically, sandbox is the same if you look at it. Just because running on your VM local, and you can take it to Amazon or some other place, you can have the same one running on a bigger cluster. you don't see the difference. They look the same. You don't see any different effect. Still, this umbari looks the same. Only you see number of nodes more, number of name nodes more, data nodes more. That's all it is.
We come back to your question.
Yeah.
When we show AWS in Amazon,
Yeah, we have a set
a
of-
4-node cluster. We will show in Ambari
Yeah.
where the mappers are running, where the reducers are running. Here is one node.
Okay.
So there is, you see,
You can show
we
that.
get a good question. Yeah, we'll get there.
Can you explain the difference between the name nodes and the data nodes?
Name node is like where you do orchestrate. Name node knows how the file is stored, how the file is spread across the different nodes, where they are stored, and how big they are, right? And it spawns what job tracker, like job running, and who is at what stage, and who failed, and whom will take over. So all the information is stored in name node and then managed. And it interacts with the yarn, which is scheduler, right? So there's daemons running in all the nodes. They talk to name node. It keeps track of all the process management.
And the data node?
Data node where you all the jobs run, right? Data node is daemon where your data is local, and name node pushes all the information to data node. Hey, this is the file sitting here. You need to do this.
So there are multiple data nodes per name node.
Yeah.
On that question, follow up tomorrow with MapR. Jim Bates will be here, right? MapR does it a little differently. No one asked that question
Yeah.
today, right?
No,
No name, no.
he asked it the other day.
Did it?
Somebody asked.
Follow up on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
name
they
node-
did it that way?
name
Did he
node-
tell you why? So follow up on that.
Yeah.
There is
This is
more
this is
depth in it.
All these are data nodes.
I have a 3667.
So this is a very high level, right? When you run a fixed script,
practice
the
with
one
VM
interface creates into
I
mapper
suggest that I
job,
VM it.
submit it to yarn, yarn give the resources,
That I'm using a multi-
and name node tracks what's happening in all the data nodes.
You suggesting it's
Yeah.
better than using it?
So this can be scaled. This
Is it
can be
better than
scaled.
just using
So I can have a fallback name nodes. If this fails, a different name node takes over because all these are talking to all the name nodes in the system all the time. So they are active architecture. So they're not active passive. So there is no time loss. If one name node goes down, that your jobs will fail. No, other name node takes over because they're in sync all the time. So then your job gets completed.
We will give you that demo tomorrow after the session. We'll take down 3 nodes and we'll show you where the node is running.
Keeps track of only the
When
resources.
you're running the cluster.
Yeah, resources.
That's the AWS tomorrow.
It
AWS.
tracks of all the jobs running. So Yarn is just a resource manager. It assigns whether who can take up this job, whether I have enough resource available. If not available, it goes into the queue.
The daemon runs on only the name node or can run on a separate
It's separate. It can run separate.
server.
It's choice how you install it, how you implement it.
So does Yarn also keep track of the failure in a node?
Yeah, because it needs to know how resources are available. So yeah, there's all in sync.
So when a name node fails, Yarn will be the first person to know.
Name node fails, I think these guys will know first. Because Yarn is a resource. Yarn focus on the data nodes,
Resources, okay.
resources. So name node has metadata of all your files. So it is scaled because that's very important for your jobs to run. You need to know where the file pieces are stored, chunks of files stored. Right. So they in sync with name node all the time.
So how is it determined, like how many name nodes you need per data node? How is that set up?
I think that's a
Configuration?
configuration. You can do it. Yeah, I can have 3 name nodes. I have 500 cluster and data nodes. So that's up to you. So once you set it up, it takes over.
Well,
Yeah, it's a requirement. What is the requirement?
And how much hardware you have and all that stuff, right?
So why do we use Pig? There are some of the points. It can be extended by UDF that we talked about. You can do all the data types, simple arithmetic operations. And if you want to go beyond, you can define UDFs. You can define your own regex and everything. So it's supported.
Can you
Why do they call it as a big Latin?
Big Latin. I don't know how damn much. Yeah.
can you also work with like images and videos?
It
And
doesn't
any
know.
type of data.
It doesn't know.
Binary,
Big Latin, I
right?
don't
Then you
know
have
why they call it as big
special
Latin.
loader built into that because if a text loader doesn't understand your binary data,
Yeah.
right? Then you have to write your own UDFs.
Then you have to parse it out into binary data.
Yeah. So binary zeros and ones, you know what to do. So you define your own UDL.
There is no rhyme and reason, but Apache comes up with the names for their projects, right? Yarn happens to be the guy. He said, another resource manager, right? No, right? So there is no rhyme and reason. Same thing with Android, like Sandwich, Jelly Bean. These guys are cool. They want to be cool.
Let's go to Hive. So anybody has any questions so far in Pig?
I mean, consider giving a 5-minute break.
Right? Okay.
Okay. How you doing? Is this having
5 minutes logical break.